when Illinois began to institute the policy requiring mandatory community service. It was a world change for me. I came from the world in which community service meant I will teach this 7-year-old how to read because he needs to learn how to read in order to continue with his life. I will be a mentor for these Girl Scouts because I am a strong woman and I would like for them to grow up to be strong women as well. So to come to the world in which an administrator leaned over at me and said, you have to do 24 hours of community service or you won't graduate high school, felt incredibly demeaning. But I continued with my community service because my 7-year-old needed to learn how to read and my Girl Scouts were adorable. I began to notice a change when I went to a leadership conference and the first time somebody told me, so what are you in for? I'm in for a good time, I hope. And it came to pass that this person was doing community service as under the judge's orders as a way of staying out of juvenile court. Now you could say to me, well Chris, community service means different things to different people based on their background, based on their socioeconomic circumstances. This was a white upper middle class male whose father would become the mayor of our town in 2 years. So what are you in for? I wasn't going to take the word of someone who was avoiding juvie court by doing community service as public policy. Until about a year later, when the supervisors of our community service project started asking me, so what are you in for? Do you need this for a guidance counselor? Do you need this to graduate? Do you need this for a sacrament? Can you not receive your sacraments unless you do community service? Are you avoiding a court sentence? And my response was no. I sincerely care about things like literacy, things like development of women or development of youth. But the question began to echo and echo and echo until it became accepted public knowledge. The community service is something that you do because you have to. I hear this question to this very day. I've been in nonprofits for 3 years. And about 2 years ago, I was in charge of mentoring about 30 youth between 15, 25 years old as they did completely by their choice community service in conjunction with their youth employment for the summer. The supervisors of the community service project, their employers, the state asked, so what are they in for? Are they avoiding a court sentence? Do they need this to graduate? The narrative on community service has shifted from something that is done because of passion to something that is done because they are forced to do so. This is having significant negative response in terms of pro bono work. Because if community service means, I will stand by this door, I will give you your brochure, I will sell you these tickets, I will ladle out the soup at the soup kitchen, I will make the peanut butter and jelly, I will read to somebody else's children, I will shovel snow. These are all incredibly menial tasks that can be done by somebody who is barely literate and doesn't really care. You can shovel snow when your brain is clearly elsewhere. You can ladle out soup with a condescending look. There's no love to it. However, by structuring community service projects that have clear ties into what people care about, as well as clear connections to their careers, we can invest in community service and turn it into the new entry level in a way of fast-tracking people from where they are to where they want to be. The 5-year-old who's making the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches is 5, doesn't understand to be condescending to the people that they're serving. But by sheltering and by nurturing that 5-year-old who's making the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, to bring him to school where he can collect the cans of soup or collect the cans of food and send them off to the shelter, who becomes the high schooler who can drive his friends to the soup kitchen, making sure that they are adequately staffed, who becomes the college student who can write a grant to the Kraft Foundation, getting $40,000 in food or in food subsidies to the kitchen, who becomes the nonprofit professional who is dedicated to ending hunger on a policy-wide level. We've created a structure in which this person can grow and develop and cement this lifelong commitment to the issue that they care about. Sure, when you're 10 years old, you can stand by the door and hand out programs. As long as by the time you're 15 years old, you're at a computer helping to design these programs. As long as by the time that you're in college, you're on the RSO board who is helping to create the events, helping to structure them, to make sure there's a place that you can meet, make sure that the people that are there that are need to be there. By the time you're an alum, you're recruiting other alums to donate to your college and give back to the issues that have helped you and that care about you. It's true that internships and fellowships and community service have become the new entry level. People are expected, for their first job out of college, to have 2 to 3 years of experience and know certain skills that most college curricula don't teach you. Very few college programs teach you things like data entry, teach you things like managing an Excel calendar. These are fantastic programs that you can pick up when you're 16 or 17 doing community service for a nonprofit that is already overstretched in terms of staffing, who is forcing their workers to work 50 or 60 hours a week just to make sure that they can keep the consistent level of service. In addition, by structuring service as laddered up, you can demonstrate that there's an inherent and there's a clear value to serving in a committed and dedicated way. Sure, you can be at the kitchen ladling out soup in a condescending manner, and you will get out of that experience exactly what you put into it. But by saying, hi, it looks like there's a lot of waste at this restaurant that I go to, could we donate this to this kitchen that I volunteer at? Suddenly you form a strategic partnership between the restaurant and the kitchen. They start to communicate, they start to form solutions on a policy-wide level. Then you can invite the newspapers in, the newspapers will cover it. Then you can invite the legislators in to say, hi, I wrote this article for the newspaper. Maybe you should consider funding this nonprofit better. This brings back incredibly high deliverables once people stop being the 10-year-old who is making the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or the 12-year-old who is ladling out the soup, and start being the consultant, the doctor, the attorney. A pro bono hour from a 10-year-old means that 10-year-old is not watching television. A pro bono hour from an attorney could save a life. My name is Chris Baruya. I've dedicated my life to increasing the levels of community service, both in terms of numbers and in terms of value. I hope you will join me. So to answer the question of the kid that I met about 10 years ago, I'm in this because it matters. I'm in this because it's good for my soul, it's good for the community. And I would counter it to him, this child of the would-be mayor, what are you in for?